Inspired by futurists and Dadaists, the Fluxus movement made its appearance in the New York art scene around the 1960s. This was a movement that began to shift the balance of power in the art world. It destroyed the line between art and everyday life. Although Fluxus art had a big impact, it's still a movement that has never been strictly defined. Many of the Flux artists believe that defining the style would be too limiting to what the artists were wanting it to be. Most of the artists, however, had similar values when it came to the making and presenting of their art. This included making art that was available to the masses and not strictly to museums. Art that could be understood by those who were not formally educated in art or the movement. Lastly, art that could be produced by any person. One artist who was heavily involved in the Fluxus movement was Yoko Ono. Born in Tokyo, Japan in 1933, Yoko Ono was later brought to New York with her parents, where she studied at Sarah Lawrence College. There, she began creating instructional pieces. These were pieces that could be performed by anyone, anywhere, and captured the essence of Flux art. Ono liked to harness what was already present in the world. She also liked to focus on the physical body within her artwork. During the Vietnam War, many of her works portrayed messages to end the war and share political statements. In the early stages of her career, from 1960 to 1971, Yoko Ono created an unofficial exhibit in the Museum of Modern Art that was titled Yoko Ono One Woman Show. Her exhibit in the museum had been advertised to the public. However, when people went to the exhibit, they were met with very few of her pieces and instructions to track flies in the museum and city as they dispersed. Ono had released flies in the museum and used them and the audience as part of her art piece. This also gave the viewers the opportunity to participate and become artists themselves. Although the 1960 to 1971 exhibit was unofficial, MoMA ended up creating an official Yoko Ono one-woman show exhibit that was on view from May 17, 2015 to September 7, 2015. One performance piece featured in this exhibit is Cut Piece, performed by Yoko Ono in 1964. In this performance, audience participation was required. Yoko Ono presented herself on center stage, sat down with her legs underneath her, placed large scissors in front of herself, and instructed the audience to come up one by one, cut off a piece of her clothing, and take it with them. After instructing the audience on what to do, she remained silent for the rest of the piece. Her posture for the performance consisted of her sitting on her knees with her legs tucked under. This posture is known as seiza, which is a formal or respectful sitting position within the Japanese culture. Throughout the piece, she sat quietly as the audience cut off her clothing. The performance ended when she decided, which was usually around the time the cutting had stopped. Cut Piece has been performed many times after Ono's first performance. Some have been done by Yoko Ono again, or have been reenacted by other artists. In 1971, Ono presented the instructions for Cut Piece in her paperback edition of Grapefruit. Throughout the years, many people have discussed what exactly Cut Piece was about. Ono had stated at one point that this was a piece that she knew people would get different meaning from based on their experiences and personal thoughts. Ono's main theme for Cut Piece was one that referenced ideas of Buddhism. It criticized artists who were constantly giving what they wanted. Instead, Yoko Ono gave the audience her clothing and allowed them to take what they wanted. Within her reference to Buddhism, her theme also slightly hinted towards themes of feminism. The idea that women have to give up too many things that they want in this world. Today, many people look to Cut Piece as a feminist statement, even though Ono never said it was exclusively made for feminism. Several viewers have seen Cut Piece and left with the idea that it sheds light on sexual aggression, female subordination, violation of personal space, and violence towards women. These concepts have been seen by others through the removal of her clothing, not done by herself, but by others, and giving them the freedom to cut where they want while the audience also has the freedom to watch her body be revealed. Yoko Ono's impact on the Fluxus movement allowed political statements as well as the physical body to be made into art. She bridged the gap between art and everyday life and allowed all people to be a part of her work and become artists themselves. Today, Yoko Ono is still seen as one of the leading artists in the Fluxus movement. Thank you for watching my video.